This is VOCM Open Line.
Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626.
The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now.
Oh, hello. Everyone listening in this morning saying, what's going on? Who's going to be hosting the show today? Well, it's VOCM's Linda Swain. Hello. I'm doing the show for the remainder of this week anyway. I believe my colleague Brian Callahan is going to be filling in tomorrow until we find a permanent way forward for the time being. And there's a whole process that's involved in that, as you can appreciate from an administrative standpoint. But we're into a new period on VOCM Open Line today. Longtime host Paddy Daly, that force of nature, that intellectual giant. He's moving into another chapter of his own choosing, and I have no idea what that may be. I know the speculation is out there, and people have their own opinions about what's going on, but I can honestly tell you, I believe him when he told me yesterday that he honestly doesn't know what he's at next. So I will tell you what I do know, and this is purely my own opinion. Public life is a pretty hard gig. It chips away at you. You have to be committed. You have to have passion to make it work. And you need a hide on you like leather. But even then, it can leave you bruised and battered, and whether you're offering yourself up for public service through elected politics, or you're bringing information into people's living rooms every evening on a television screen, or you're talking to people on the radio, and you're either being too hard or you're not being hard enough, there are days when you leave the end of your shift feeling exhilarated, like you've made a difference, and there are days when you feel like you've been through an emotional blender. And I'm not saying that that's what led to Paddy's decision. As the old saying goes, he's big enough and ugly enough to answer for himself. But I know from my own experience, this isn't the kind of job that you leave when you pull out of the parking lot at the end of your shift. It stays in your head. You are never really off. And nowadays with social media, which I'm about to get into in a moment, the detractors and the naysayers can stay on you day and night, and there's only so long that you can put up with the deer flies buzzing around your ears before you run out of the woods. And you know what? Sometimes people just need a change. I, for one, I feel very privileged to have worked alongside someone like Paddy Daly for so long. He was great to bounce ideas off of. He was a wealth of information. I'm using was and like past tense as if he's not here anymore, but he's very much here. Not sure how he did it, but he could quote stats and figures and dates like no one I've ever known. And there weren't too many topics you could stump him on. So all I can say is that Paddy's going to land on his feet wherever that may be, and I can honestly tell you, my opinion, he's a provincial treasure. He's unique and rare, and he's a good guy. He's got a big old brain on him and an even bigger heart, doesn't he, Dave? Only you and I and some very close people know that. And I, for one, am going to miss him a lot. Well, the bottom line, though, is that VOCM Open Line has been and always will be your show. It's the callers that set the direction and the conversation here. And if you want to talk about that, you can give us a call. Well, I mentioned social media earlier and how that's changed everything. And I noticed a very interesting post on Facebook the other day. And it's only rarely and occasionally that I go on Facebook anymore. I just find it gross, to be blunt. But Mick Davis of Mick Davis and Thin Love is making his social media exit with a damning condemnation of what has become, in his words, a cesspool. And here's some of what he had to say. I'm going to quote directly from him now. He says, "I'm ditching this wildly uneven, deceptive, vainglorious, obnoxious, time-sucking, brain-sucking," did I leave anything out, he says, "frat party," and in subtext he says, "don't forget why Facebook was invented, to exclude." He goes on to say, I'd like to say and offer my voice, stay and offer my voice, but I feel we are all preaching to our own choirs. There is little dialogue or debate here. All I see is segregation, trolling, blocking, canceling, leaving us all sitting ducks for dividing and conquering. The world is in big trouble. We are just scrolling along on Moonlight Bay. If you want to make change, you'll need to do more than post your opinions. Get out in your neighborhood. You'll need to start there. Entertainment-wise, Meta is a cesspool of AI madness and disinformation. I'm going to subscribe to some newspapers and magazines and enjoy the countless hours of entertainment I've spent my lifetime collecting. That is records, movies, and books, whilst retaining my privacy, gravity, and intelligence, and hopefully writing some good songs. So those are the words of Mick Davis and Thin Love. And amen, brother. I almost got up and applauded when I read that last night. I'm hoping we can have a chat with him this morning. He's certainly tapping into the angst and frustration that I know I felt. I have hundreds, if not more than 1,000 records at home. Once a great source of solace to me. Those have lain unused for years. The books in my bookcases, also a source of great enjoyment, are collecting dust. Yet social media continues to bark and cheep and chirp, demanding my unending attention for content that is increasingly less relevant or even interesting. And the AI has dominated. There's nothing now that you can see on social media that you can distinctly say is real. It's like, why am I looking at something that's not real? It's not entertaining, it's not interesting, it's not real. And it's not created by anybody who's trying to be creative and, I don't know. Your thoughts on that? You're certainly welcome to give us a call. Dave, you're of a certain age. Do you remember MySpace? Remember MySpace? That was a social media I could get, on board with, but it soon lost out to Facebook, that with its very rigid algorithms and the like. Anyway, your thoughts on that, I'd like to hear what you have to say. In the meantime, there's a major trial underway in California which will see Meta, the parent company of Facebook, and YouTube defend themselves against allegations that their social media products and platforms are addictive. Well, what about TikTok, you say? TikTok has agreed to settle with a plaintiff and is no longer part of that trial, while Snapchat reached an agreement to settle with the plaintiff last week. The trial is the first of a number of major legal challenges against social media companies, which some might argue have been free to manipulate and direct discourse in our minds for decades. I'll put a simple question to you. Do you feel as productive as you were, say, 20 years ago? How many hours do you spend on social media? How do you communicate with family and friends compared to, say, 20 years ago? Are you more likely to use Snapchat or Messenger to reach out to people than you are to pick up a phone or knock on someone's door? As opposed to consumers, we appear to have become the commodities for social media. And more we're being analyzed and fed by the algorithm. I'll show you an example. If you look at your own social media feed, you're familiar with some of the things that will come up there. Turn your head. Look at your spouse's or your friends' or your coworkers' Facebook feed and notice how different it is from your own. And that's because the algorithm is trying to figure you out. And it's just feeding you the same stuff that it thinks you're going to like. Instead of choosing. What happened to choosing? What happened to choice? What happened to saying, whatever happened to this and that, and looking something up? Or I really enjoy this composer, or I really enjoy this author, or I really enjoy that show, and I will seek it out. And don't get me started on the misinformation and disinformation, but I did notice something very encouraging this morning in the Globe and Mail. Ottawa is currently in talks with Meta about restoring news to Facebook, according to the Globe and Mail. And for one, I say it's about time. The profusion of nonsense and misinformation and half-facts that are being shared and have suddenly dominated social media has exploded in recent years. And that's because legitimate news organizations have been blocked by Meta. VOCM can't get our stories up on Meta because, or Meta, of course, the owner of Facebook and Instagram. We can't put our stories up there. We're blocked. That was in reaction to and Meta's blocked news organizations in Canada in reaction to, of course, the Online News Act, which compelled Meta and Google to pay news publishers. As you know, a few years ago, especially around the COVID time, news organizations were seeing a great crunch. It's becoming more and more difficult to build and maintain revenue streams, especially when it comes to media like newspapers and the like, but radio and television are feeling it as well. And arguably, or so Ottawa was feeling, Meta should be paying its share for using news organizations and sharing their content. And Meta said, no, not interested. So they blocked us. So that's how that went. So anyway, now they're re-exploring that. So hopefully that will mean that legitimate news organizations are allowed back on some of those platforms, and some of this misinformation and disinformation that has really dominated and taken over will start to be balanced out, so to speak. So the provincial government, I see, has decided to opt out of the federal firearms compensation program. The province's argument is that it will put an unnecessary strain on the province's policing resources that would be better directed at addressing violent crime, illegal drug activity, and repeat offenders. Any thoughts on that? Of course, you're welcome to give us a call. And be careful out there. Very slick and greasy this morning. Some schools had delayed openings, and for good reason, of course. I was slipping and sliding everywhere this morning, and my little rig is usually pretty good in adverse conditions. I noticed quite a few other people stuck and slipping and sliding on the roads this morning. If you have any thoughts on snow clearing this winter in your area, by all means, give us a call. Well, as I said off the top of the show, this is your show. Whatever you want to raise, whatever you want to talk about, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. Now is your opportunity to do so. The number's to call right after this. And we're back. Linda Swain in on VOCM Open Line, and we are going to start the show this morning with Patrick. Hello, Patrick.
Really appreciate, David, the opportunity that you presented myself. Big shock yesterday, Patty. I think the whole province was a little bit shocked, but I think, Linda, you and everybody else summed it up perfectly, and David totally supported it. Public life is not an easy life. It's not something you can leave at your desk at the end of the day.
100%. I've been doing this for an awful long time, and in various different capacities. And I know that this show in particular, it leaves you feeling pretty vulnerable sometimes. Hello? Dave? I think we've lost Patrick. I can't hear him. Oh, hello? Sorry, Patrick. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to start with Patty's favorite topic. He's Canadian. So you're still there, Linda?
Oh, yes, I'm listening.
Okay. As we all know, Patty's a Canadians fan. So everybody's thinking Patty's leaving for politics. I don't think so. Today is, and he had a birthday wish, today is Nui. In case anybody don't know where Nui came from, Nui is from a girl that Alex met years ago when he was in Canada playing, a disabled girl called Elise. And Elise used to call him Newey. Sometimes she just called him Alex, but a lot of times she called him Newey. And Newey was the abbreviation of Newfoundlander, Newey, and also Newhook. So anyway, Alex turns 25, a quarter century old today, and his birthday wish is Patty is going to become his new general manager.
Oh, I love it.
So that's right, Todd. If you can't laugh at yourself, Linda, who can you laugh at? But
they're really close. Those two families are really close. Patty's really close with Alex's parents, of course, yes.
Anyway, Alex turned 25 today, and all the best to Alex. I reached out to some people yesterday, and through a media agency, there's lots of media. As you know, you can't get away from hockey in Toronto or Montreal without the media cutting, knowing what's on the go. I got, thankfully, from a media organization, Alex went back on the ice yesterday or the day before Monday, so he's back on skates again. That's not saying he's going to be now in the lineup anytime soon, folks, because this November 14th was anticipated to be a 4-month injury. He broke his ankle.
Oh, it was a devastating injury, absolutely, and you can appreciate yourself how long it might take to be rehabilitated. Yeah.
He's not scheduled to come back to the 14th, so don't get your, hopes. Don't get your but he wasn't nothing in outside, is he doing sprints or anything, but he was back skating just on the ice all by himself, taking shots on the net and that, which even that is to me a great sign of progress, and that they want him. They desperately want him back in time, to get some games under his belt before the playoffs. Anyway, beyond that little joke, which I would love it if Patty became his manager. Beyond that, Patty, if you have time out there, check out. We have a lot of great prospects in the system. Logan Sire is doing really well. Owen Protz is a great defensive prospect. I'd like to see more. I don't know after the injury. I'm a little nervous about David Reibenbacher, and we drafted him so high that time. But check out Patty Zarkovsky that we drafted last year. He's over in the KHL. We all know how good Davidoff has been, and, we were ecstatic when we landed him. Check out Zarkovsky. He is quoted as being as good as Davidoff, and definitely not better than Davidoff, but as good perhaps as Davidoff is. He is on pace that he could actually break the records Davidoff set as a rookie last year. All the same, now you have to take into credit, as Patty knows, the fact Davidoff didn't get a lot of ice times at times last year because of what was going on. But anyway, check out Patty Zarkovsky. He is a absolutely phenomenal player. I'm watching some of the KHL games through live stream on TV, and he is a phenomenal player.
Listen, what do you think? What do you think of the fact that Lane Hutson is not on Team USA? I mean, that's probably a good thing, if you know what I mean. But I really like Lane Hutson, I got to say.
Good question. Good question, Linda. From listening to Craig Boughton, naturally, Canadian, and he's talking more about the Canadian players, and people have got to admit it. But it seems like a size thing. It seems like his size played a factor in that. He's only a small guy. To the best of my knowledge, I don't want to misquote being a Canadians fan, but I don't think Cole Caulfield made the U.S. team either, or did he?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think he did.
I don't think Cole Caulfield did either, and Cole Caulfield is a very small guy. So I think for the U.S. it was loading up on size, being able to be a physical, impactful player. Versus that as Montreal is. Montreal, and I'm actually hoping they finish where they're the two now as second wild card instead, and they face Carolina. 'Cause Carolina doesn't have a great goalie right now. They're relying on Freddie Anderson, and everybody knows Freddie Anderson has a injury problem, and he's not, he's not a Vasilevsky, put it that way, or Chris Good or whatever they have in Detroit. He's not, a A1 goaltender. But that seems to be what I'm hearing. That the U.S. went for physical play versus this Montreal type style, which is fast, open paced.
Well, I just got a message from a friend of mine who's Mr. Hockey, even though he is a Leafs fan. And he says that right now Team USA had too many D who play the same role and with much more experience. So he'll be on Team USA the next time around. And he agrees. If anyone should be on Team USA, it's Caulfield.
Keep an eye out for his brother, Cole Caulfield. His brother is really good, too.
Yeah, I watched him here at when he was with the Growlers. Great, just like his brother. Oh, my God.
And he has another brother, I forget who, but he has another brother apparently who did go the defensive role, has gone the forward role. Who I don't know. I think he's drafted. I think he's in the NHL, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But anyway, thanks, Linda. You have many callers. And again, to David, very, very appreciative, David, when you reached out yesterday. That's really, really honorable, David, because I'm not a regular caller, but as you said, Patty enjoys these Canadians to get someone on, just to wish Alex a happy birthday. And that would be an honor to Patty. So thank you, Dave, for the opportunity. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Linda. All the best to you and everybody.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to go now to Lucy. You're on the air. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Linda. I actually tried to call yesterday because one of your callers, or Patty's last callers, talked about the murder of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I'm a U.S. citizen and a permanent resident here in Canada, and I have friends who are in the U.S. fighting what Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, is doing, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country. As Canadians, though, I think there's a role for us to play. People spotted a Canadian weapons manufacturer, Rochelle's, armored Senator vehicle at the ICE incident on Saturday. So what's happening is that there are currently no regulations governing the sale of Canadian military weapons to the U.S. So our weapons manufacturers are making the weapons of war that are being used by ICE, by the Israeli government against the Palestinian people in what is clearly genocide, and in countries like Venezuela and who knows where else they're off to, the U.S. There's a bill before Parliament called the No More Loopholes Act, C-233, to prevent Canadian weapons from getting into the U.S. en route to Israel and for U.S. use in places like Venezuela and domestically via ICE. The organization organizing this is worldbeyondwar.org. And if you look them up online, you can sign their petition, and they're going to do a day of action on February 17th, I believe. I live in Gander, and I know that my member of parliament is currently planning to vote against this legislation. But maybe he can be persuaded the Minneapolis murder may change his vote, as it has had kind of a galvanizing effect on many politicians in the U.S. But if you live in Gander or if you live anywhere else in the province, please connect with worldbeyondwar.org to fight for this bill. Again, the bill's called No More Loopholes Act.
Lucy, I can only imagine now. I mean, so many Canadians have been watching what's been going on in the United States with some of these ICE actions, with shock and horror, of course. But I can only imagine how it resonates with a U.S. citizen. What does it feel like to you to know that this is happening on your native soil?
Well, I feel powerless to do anything. If I were on the ground, I would do what one of my friends is doing, and she goes to court, to immigration court, so that if ICE takes people, that they at least can get their names. And another friend who's helping people with their legal matters to try and legally immigrate to the U.S. And as we know, the case of the father and the 5-year-old, they had protected status. They were seeking asylum in the U.S. And I think that what's really terrifying is that ICE is looking at the color of people's skin or at how much trouble they're giving them as they grab people and shove them to the ground, which is what Alex Preddy was. He was trying to help a woman who had been shoved to the ground by an ICE agent and pepper sprayed when he was assaulted by them. But it's horrible. I just can't. I mean, I'm watching as though I'm watching some other. I feel like I'm watching Russia.
And what do you make of, the different narratives that have come out? And thank goodness for all these various camera angles that caught the truth of that moment. That completely, changed the narrative, the official narrative. I mean, my goodness gracious. I mean, what do you make of the government in the United States right now, and what needs to happen in order for, meaningful change to happen?
Well, I think that what's happening on the ground in Minneapolis, which is currently under everybody's attention right now, people need to continue to demonstrate. They need to continue to tell the story of what ICE is doing. And I think that there's so little attachment to the truth on the part of the Trump administration and all of the people in his immediate circle that it doesn't. I mean, it's almost comical to watch them be interviewed and try to, defend their version of events when you can see on camera that they're just lying. Out and out lying. And I do think that there is some retribution being exacted on Bovino. I think he was the commander on the ground, and they've removed him. And there is call for Kristi Noem's impeachment. I was reading an article about what they were describing as a circular firing squad within the administration, within Trump's administration. So they are not suffering this well, but I think at the bottom they don't care, whether we believe them or not. I think Trump is moving us away from democracy and toward the kind of autocratic government that he sees in China and Russia and North Korea. He wants that kind of adulation. So it's up to the people to keep demonstrating, to keep filing legal lawsuits, to be there and to not be quiet, even though they're trying to intimidate people into backing down.
Lucy, I appreciate your call this morning. I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about affordability, the price of groceries. When we come back right after this, now is your opportunity to give us a call. Anne Marie is waiting in the queue, but I'm going to raise this issue and see what you have to say about this. I noticed that the Vancouver City Council is writing Transport Canada about excessively bright headlights on new vehicles. Have you noticed this yourself driving around, especially at night? The new LED lights are more concentrated and brighter, and that's a problem for oncoming traffic. Apparently, the issue is being raised at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities this summer because there are no standards for headlight brightness in Canada, according to what I read. Have you noticed the same? Is regulating the brightness of LED headlights something our provincial government should consider? Give us a call. Let us know what you have to say about that. I know that I went from a regular halogen light to a LED light when I switched vehicles, and wow, you can really see a whole lot more on the road, which was fantastic for me. But some LED lights, and it depends on where you're sitting on the road and that sort of thing, whether you're driving a car or a pickup truck, and whether the oncoming vehicle coming towards you is high or low. But some I find are incredibly bright, like blindingly bright, and you can't turn away, and you can't even bring them down, like you used to flash lights every now and again, or bring down the high beams when there was oncoming traffic. It's become a bit of a problem, according to some, and like I said, Vancouver City Council wants the federal government to do something about it. If you have any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. We're going to go now to Anne Marie. You're on the air. Hi, Anne Marie.
Hi, Linda.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. A little bit nervous, but
don't be
here
nervous.
we go.
I'm nervous too, so there you go.
Oh, way to go.
What's on your mind?
And I was calling in because I was a little bit frustrated with the grocery assistance. I'm going to say rebate. I don't know if that's the right word or not. But money's being added on to GST payments for helping low-income people with groceries. Okay. I'm just a little bit frustrated because groceries have gone up, and we all know it. And guess what? We all pay for it. And I was upset because, according to some part of the government, I'm low enough income to get an oil rebate, but I'm not low enough income for a food rebate. So I guess that's the old saying is, as a senior, you're either heat or eat. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So having said that, I mean, I know a lot of people are low income, and they're great, got good friends. However, our expenses, I have a mortgage that I've had to refinance, so there's a loan for you. Bills are much higher. I have taxes, right, oil, wood, and car insurance, and, I have all that. And a lot of low-income people don't have that. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. So all these extra expenses are coming out of what I have and my husband. And I'd like to point out that I've been on long-term disability, Canada pension disability, for 19 years because I cannot work. And it's not due to physical. And I hate the fact I can't work, but it is what it is. And I've had the same amount of monies every month for the past 19 years.
My God. How do you get by? How do you do it? I mean, everything has gone up so much.
This is why I was so frustrated because, $800 extra a year for groceries, and I get nothing but maybe $300 or $400 raise over 19 years. That's it. I'll tell you, I make $1,190. Now, obviously, I can't live off that. And I've gone to food banks. A lot of lower-income people also go to food banks, so that's helping them too. And they don't pay much for eating right. That's subsidized. The rent is subsidized. You know what I mean? And I'm just tired of being a little over the amount, so I can't get anything. Don't get GST.
So what would be the solution, or what would help you most? The provincial and I'm sure federal government officials are listening now. What would be your message to them? What would help you the most right now?
Well, I'm not sure what the low income is, what it starts at or goes down. I don't think it should be lower than $150,000 because let me tell you, even for the people who make more than that, they're still paying for it. So I think it should be capped off at a little bit higher. It's not fair I don't get GST. My husband works very hard every day of the week, long hours. But we make well less than $60,000, $70,000. You know what? And the loans and everything else that we've been able to take out, we're paying for them. I'm paying a loan for 10 years, $700 a month. And I don't mean to say other people aren't, but you get, and to say that we make $60,000 or $70,000 a year, that's your gross. As we all know, we don't get that, right?
Yeah, your gross is pretty gross. Yeah.
What it is, right? That's how I remember the gross in it, because it's so gross you don't get it. But I think the cap should be a lot higher. And I mean, people who have kids who make a little bit more money, you know what? Their kids are into everything. So that's an expense. So really, it balances out. Your monies, on average, we're making, for me, around the same as someone who is low income because of the opportunities they have and the assistance they get. And I'm not saying no that they absolutely need it. Some, however, don't, because we all know there's legit and there's no legit. But I would think that cap needs to be much higher. I mean, like I said, if I'm poor enough that the government has to give me $500 a month for oil, and guess what? I pay $900 a month for oil to heat my house. Thank God I have a payment plan with Tappers Oil. They really helped me out. And then I have a wood stove because of the oil. You know, it's just expenses that we have. Just because we're not low income, it doesn't mean we don't have expenses. And the grocery cost is affecting us. I've never had to put back more than I have to put back in the past.
Groceries are shocking. I mean, it not only have groceries gone up, but we also have this phenomenon of shrinkflation. And sometimes I think when we use words like that, you sort of lose track of it. So we're paying more for less. And as a result, you're paying even more because you're going to have to buy that item even more frequently over the course of a month to stay where you were before. Anyway, it angers me to no end.
It's almost embarrassing when I'm at the soup. Well, I don't really care, but it is kind of when I'm at the supermarket and I pick up, I don't know, a chicken, okay? And they're $18, $19. I have to put it back, and that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Good thing the person next to me says, yes, I can't afford it either.
No.
It's sad, and a lot of them are seniors, and don't get me going on the seniors.
And the meat counter,
you know,
oh my goodness gracious, just walking past the meat counter is just like, well, you got to walk past it. You got to walk past it.
Exactly. Yes, Linda, you're absolutely right. And thanks for taking my call, because I don't hear many people speak out about, paycheck to paycheck. And you know what? There's a lot of times I don't get paycheck to paycheck. I don't make it to the other paycheck.
Yeah, you and me both, sister. And Marie, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and you're doing a great job, and good luck to you, my friend.
All right, thank you. All the best.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to stretch to the end of that paycheck, isn't it? And it's true of all income levels now, because the greater the income you make, the more expenses you have, arguably. And I'm not saying that, somebody making $150 is in the same kind of a boat as someone who is making less than 50 or less than 30. But it's tight all around. And what is the solution? Who knows? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back. We're going to go now to Georgina. You're on the air. Hi, Georgina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm a first-time caller, and I don't live in Newfoundland, so forgive me if I screw up a little bit.
Oh, no, you'll never screw up. Go ahead.
Okay. So the situation is I am originally from Newfoundland, and my parents lived there, or still do, actually. My dad and mom had a lot of health issues, and he lived in a small community out in Central. So last year, I came home in May because my dad's got a rare cancer. He's got a hearing problem. He's going blind, COPD, diabetes, etc. So my brother and them found him a senior's apartment in St. John's. So while I was home for a couple of weeks back in May and June, I moved him back and forth to St. John's. Now, when we moved in there was parking beside the lane in the building, like the fire lane is behind it, but there's several visitors' parkings ahead of it. So the people in the building told us, yes, we were fine to park there, stay there overnight, etc. Now, I know there are more visitors' parkings up behind the building, but this is closest to my parents' door to come in and out to deal with them. So we came down for holidays, and we were out in Central for a while. We came back in here a couple of nights ago. Our flight was supposed to leave this morning, but it got canceled last night. I asked my parents if it was okay to still park in the same spot, and they said yes, people still park there. That's what we did. The snowplow, the guy that's doing the snow clearing in the building parking lot, he came by yesterday with the snow, and he cut around our vehicle, and we knew, okay, we're going to have to go out and shovel around the doors like everybody would. And then overnight when we got the snow, when we woke up this morning, he intentionally pushed the snow over the front of the vehicle and in the back of the vehicle that we can't get out.
Intentionally, you say? How do you know it was intentional?
Yes, you can see it. He could go down across the parking lot or do whatever, and you go out. I've took pictures. You go out. He come down and he stopped the plow. He didn't swerve out around the vehicle to try and get as much snow. He pushed his loader. He pushed the snow, and you could see the loader amount pushed up to the back of the car, and is pushed up to the front of the vehicle. And if he had continued and swerved it around, because there's stairs to go into the building on the right from where we were parked, he could push it down across the parking lot. But instead, he done it. You can see it. It was clearly done intentionally. So my husband was pissed. Our flight got canceled this morning, luckily, that we didn't have to get out. And so I went down to the building and talked to the lady, and that's when I saw one sign on the bulletin boards saying for snow clearing, reminder to tenants to have your visitors park in number 1 to 7. I'm like, okay. So I spoke to her, and she's like, well, the guy is tired of people parking there. She said, technically, it's a loading zone. And I said, but there's no signs up. When I was there this summer, it was parking. You said it was okay. And she said, yeah, but your parents knew. But I said, there's no reminders. You have one little sign up, and she said, it's a big building. And I said, I understand that. My husband works in Ontario, and he does work in commercial and residential big buildings. I said, never seen anything like it before, the way that he has the snow cleared. I said, this is a senior's building. I said, obviously, if there's somebody parking in a visitor's parking spot for overnight, they don't live in town. They're here helping out for a reason. So I said, why would he push the snow in intentionally and basically cover up the car? I said, we came down last night, put our bags in the vehicle because we thought we were leaving at like 3 o'clock this morning. We had to be at the airport for 5. I said, if we had woken up and our flight wasn't canceled, we would have been stuck there. And she told me, she said, he's tired of people parking there, so he done it intentionally. And I do not understand. How can a snow truck removal person in a senior's building, you can get pissed off, but if nobody is supposed to be parking there, shouldn't there be signs there on the fencing instead of us visitors having to read their mind to know that he's pissed off?
Well, yeah, you're a prime example of why signage is the best route there, because anyone who lives there would probably know, but you're only coming and going occasionally.
Yes. And she said, well, they're working on signs, but they don't have them. I said, well, working on signs doesn't help me out, right? I mean, we're here. I said, if my dad, this is a Wednesday, and normally he would have to go for injections. And, I mean, he was caught, in less than a year with him going blind. So this is why they moved in, along with his hearing problems, is cancer, and like I said, a COPD, can't walk far. So we try to get as close as parking as we can to the door, so that if we need to take them somewhere, not hop. I mean, I know, yes, we could park, come down to the door if we had to, but the weather, there was parking there. We thought it was fine. My parents thought it was fine. And then this is what the snow clear driver did. So she said to me, she said, we're working on signs. And I said, well, in my opinion, living in Ontario, and I mean, and working in around buildings. When snow clearing season comes, I mean, they have signs up on all entrances. They have it beside the elevators. They have it beside the stairs. They even, like, I've helped out in the buildings at times, and we take notices and poke them in the seniors' tenants' doors for reminders, because of course they're seniors. You don't hear properly, you don't remember it properly, and then they got this one little sign up, and then expect us to know what to do. And because this guy felt like he was tired of plowing the snow and he couldn't go straight down the parking lot, he stopped at our vehicle, pushed it in the back, and then he turned around and he pushed it up the front. There's no other way for it to be snow like it is unless he intentionally done it.
Yeah,
and it's frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. So if your flight was going out this morning, would you have made it?
No, it's impossible. The amount of snow that's pushed up and being pushed up with a loader, we would have to get somebody in to clear it. We'd never be able to push it across because we would have to go across the parking lot, down multiple car lengths to try and get it out of the way. The only place for us to push it would be on the sidewalk, or like I said, you got to go up across the parking lot somewhere. Like it's impossible, and I can't believe that a Newfoundlander always known to be nice. I mean, I know we're getting a lot of snow, but again, if this was in a normal building, I mean, everybody's still got appointments. They got to get to work. I understand that part, but this is a seniors building, right? Older people in the building with health issues, and if you got somebody visiting and spending the night, obviously you're not from in town. So how do you know what's going on? And like I said, my parents have only lived there for a few months. Okay, maybe they should have known, but they don't. But I still don't think that gives a plow driver a reason to plow in somebody's vehicle.
Georgina, all the best to you now. Hopefully, when's your flight going out? Do you know?
Well, they have it canceled now until Thursday. Right, hopefully, but yeah, right. But I mean, it's still, like I said, it's just so frustrating. And like we said, I mean, I think there should be something done with seniors buildings or anything like that. I mean, like I said, then I think myself, the plow driver, if he's tired of people parking there and they're not supposed to be, it's supposed to be a loading zone, but yet there's no signs up for a loading zone, but you're allowed to park there in the summer as a visitor's parking, then in my opinion, instead of him pushing snow into visitors' vehicles, he should be complaining to the building owners or the management company, and he should be on their backs to get them to put the proper signs. Yeah. He shouldn't be putting his frustration out on the visitors. We can't read his mind. We don't know what's going on.
Georgina, I appreciate your call this morning. All the best to you now. Safe travels.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, your thoughts on that? Lots of frustrations when it comes to snow clearing and the like. If you have any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. We're up to news time now. And we're back. We're going to go now to Bernadette. You're on the air. Hi, Bernadette.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm great, and thank you for taking my call. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Patty and say what a great guy and what a great commentator and everything he was. And like yourself, you do a great job too, Linda. So
thank you.
I wanted to say that. You're very welcome. I'm doing a follow-up. I spoke to Patty in August of 2024 when my husband, unfortunately, was having, with family history and everything, he was having heart episodes, and we went to the health sciences. And like a lot of people, then after multiple hours, he gets treated, and his blood pressure was really high and everything, and they sent him home. And then less than a week, we went to St. Clair's, and they had an episode, and they treated. Anyway, it's a long time waiting on tests and everything, and like his family doctor said, unfortunately, a lot of people don't make it, waiting on tests, waiting on surgery. So fast forward to February 13th, almost a year ago, he wasn't feeling well again, and we called the ambulance instead of me driving him, and he had a heart attack in the ambulance really close to the health sciences. which ended up being a blessing in disguise because he finally got in, and once he got in, he needed a triple bypass. So that night they thought they could do stents, but he wasn't a candidate. So within a few days, less than a week, he had a triple bypass. So that was great. And then unofficially they said it is like an 11-month wait for cardio rehab. So that's why I'm calling to give a plug. Apparently there's only one cardio physio person in Newfoundland, and my husband finally got to go to start some Zoom classes. There's 6 Zoom classes, so he did one last week. And he went in person for like an hour and a half educational session, which was great. And it was 40 or 50 people there who had heart attacks last February and last March. And so they're still waiting. They go through the routine of the Zoom classes, and then they'll go to the works. But it takes so long to get to the works and to get all the cardio rehab and exercise that you want. Now thankfully we've been going to the gym for years, so we still go to the gym. But I just wanted to put a plug to hopefully the powers that be are listening, and hopefully they could get some more resources into the cardio rehab program for all those people who are desperately waiting, because even though it's been almost a year, he still sometimes has shortness of breath, doesn't have the same energy and all of that.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank goodness your husband is on the mend after going through all of that. But I wanted to back up a little bit because for anybody who doesn't know, what you say there's an 11-month wait for cardio rehab. First of all, for anyone who wouldn't know, what exactly does cardio rehab do?
Yes, okay. Importantly, the education sessions. So John started, there will be 6 Zoom classes, and then they will, go over education. They'll go over different things that could happen to you and to be aware of, I guess, and how people recover. So everyone recovers differently. Everyone was in a certain shape before they had the heart attacks. Everyone had different habits, good or bad, before they had the heart attacks and all that. So they mentioned smoking, of course, and all that. And of course, I was not in on the Zoom. My husband, that was a private Zoom. And then he went to the education session last week at the Health Sciences for about an hour and a half. And you weren't allowed to speak on your case. It was just listening, I guess. And I guess more education and what to expect. And to say, that, the guy was pretty frustrated. The cardio physiotherapist was pretty frustrated. He's the only one in Newfoundland. So, yes, I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, it's interesting that you say there's only one cardio physiotherapist. So this is the person who, as you say, helps direct you on, healthy habits and those kinds of things to try and prevent further problems down the road. And I guess get you back up to, your normal physicality and that sort of thing. And because that's pretty hard surgery.
Absolutely. And yes, and I guess they would work with you at the work. So eventually you will get to go to the work. So whether it's another 6 weeks or 6 months, like nobody really knows because of the wait list and because unfortunately Newfoundlanders are known for a lot of the bad stuff, right? A lot of the bad hearts and bad health and, and a lot of things that contribute, I guess, and genetics, of course, contributed to my husband's heart health, So
you say there's only one cardio physiotherapist in the province. Did you have any indication, or do you know, where we were before?
No, I'm sorry. No.
I'm just wondering if you'd heard those conversations. That's all. But one seems like that's an awful big workload for one human being.
Absolutely. And you wonder, if there's any empty buildings, if they couldn't They created the hub down at the old Costco, which is fantastic. So are there old schools? Are there old churches? Are there buildings that are free? Could they create something? You know what I mean? If they have the staff, maybe they don't, and the resources, you know what I mean?
You sort of farm out some of that work, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, instead of everyone going to the works, can they create another work somewhere else?
Interesting, yeah. Bernadette, that's an aspect of our healthcare system that I have to be honest, I had no idea about, and and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. You don't know until you're there.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully that's now that you've raised it, hopefully that gets on somebody's radar and it's something that gets addressed. If there's only one cardio physiotherapist and he's overworked, he might welcome a bit of company.
Absolutely, yes.
I really appreciate your time, Bernadette, and thank you for telling us your story, your husband's story, and hopefully he continues continues to get stronger and healthier.
Thank you very much. We all hope that too. Thank you, Linda.
All right. Thanks,
Have a great
Bernadette.
day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well,
Bye-bye.
what an interesting aspect of the healthcare system that, as I said, you don't know until you're there. One cardio physiotherapist in the province? That doesn't seem right. Anyway, if you have any thoughts on that or have any experience with it, give us a call. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back. We're going to go now to Gary. You're on the air. Hi, Gary.
Well, good morning, Linda. Nice to hear your voice again. I was making sure I was going to tune in and see who was going to be sitting in Patty Daly's chair today. And Linda, I haven't heard your voice for a while, so I'm glad to hear your voice. And I want to say a very warm thank you for Patty Daly for all the shows I listened to over the years. One lady mentioned yesterday, says, there's so many things that on VOCM that we can phone up and you can hear all the stories of all the people across the whole island and Labrador, and you get to hear the voices of the people, their concerns, and the VOCM's always been helpful in supplying information to all of us. And I want to talk about something else today too. Artificial intelligence. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I said, I got one of these smart TVs that my brother and his wife got me to watch, and they had to show me how to navigate to get VOCM on the radio. I didn't know how to get the radio, so I get to listen to VOCM every morning. Somebody said that's the start of my day, listening to VOCM, and it doesn't matter who's sitting in the chair. Everybody, even from Dave Williams, and who's sitting in the chair, the producers, they're all wonderful people. They do that. They go the extra mile. That's the way to put it. They go the extra mile to help everybody out. Supplying information if they need it. And just maybe give somebody that little bit of hope for the day, to get them through what they're going through. And that's the wonderful about the VOCM. But artificial intelligence, I was talking to my friend in Calgary last week. He says, you know what? I navigate on these, I go to the homepage, and then I want to watch, let's see, CTV News or CBC News. Now you have to go to an app and then you got to pay for it.
Yeah, isn't that something?
I couldn't believe it. I said, what we paid for that over the years with all our taxes. It's done and paid for. It should be free. It should be nothing for those apps.
Yeah, well, that's I guess the cost of business, but it's really rather unfortunate, isn't it? That all of a sudden, where you used to be able to get whatever you wanted for one package price, now you have to get it from this app or this streaming platform or that thing or these things, and you still need your cable because it's packaged in with your internet, and you're just paying and paying and paying and paying.
I know, and then here Canada has sent up their own rockets, their own satellites. Well, how much? It's sort of like we went from one thing from the old transistor radio to FM stereo radio, and he goes, keep paying and paying for the same thing. If we have to start paying for all the radio stations, then I'm going to have to just say, come get the TV and get rid of it, because I don't know how to navigate that.
No, indeed. You and an awful lot of people besides. And yet there's others who don't even know what cable TV is because they've always used streaming platforms. It's just a generational thing, I would imagine. Again, how much does it all cost? I mean...
I don't know, but I talked to my brother because he's the one that got my TV hooked up, and he said, don't access that. They said, they just want more money, and otherwise you're going to be, you don't have the money to even pay for it.
There you go.
Yeah, so, another thing, so I'm going to have to call you close to spring training because Dave mentioned to me that you love the Toronto Blue Jays and so do I, so you and I are going to be talking Toronto Blue Jays, okay?
Sure, no problem. I tell you, we've got a little Blue Jays contingent in our newsroom. The biggest fan by far is Sarah Strickland. There's no flies on her when it comes to the Toronto Blue Jays. She knows every last detail of what's going on. But I became a fan, I got to be honest with you, during COVID when there was nothing to watch. You're talking about television. When there was nothing to watch, there was no new programming because everything was shut down. And I started to get into baseball. I'd never really watched baseball before. And I started watching the Blue Jays and I got hooked.
Oh, wow. See, my history, I started watching the Blue Jays the first day they played baseball on TV.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you're a true dyed-in-the-wool fan.
Yeah, and I got to go to one game, and it was in the old exhibition stadium. I mean, it wasn't in the Sky Dome then; it was an exhibition stadium.
Imagine now. Have you been up to Sky Dome to see a show?
No.
I
never been back at that. That's the only game I've seen live was an exhibition stadium. The rest I watch on TV. But TV's actually better because what these people tell now, you go to the Sky Dome, you can't really see what's going on. You're so high up now. Trying to watch a hockey game and trying to see the puck in the nosebleed section.
It's part of the experience, I suppose. You're there with a multitude of other fans, and it's it's that experience. That's on my bucket list. I know myself and my husband would like to get a trip up to Toronto at some point, maybe hopefully this summer to see a game, but who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On the sports station, there's the very first person that bought a ticket for the Toronto Blue Jays. She's still alive. She tried to access tickets for the Toronto Blue Jays this year, and the tickets have gone through the roof as a result of them going to the World Series last year.
They have.
And I thought, Toronto Blue Jays, they should just go escort her to there and put it in a box with all, because she was the first one to ever sit and watch the Blue Jays live, bought a ticket live. That's history.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gary, and you're right, the ticket prices have gone up exponentially. And no doubt it's because of that World Series run and now some of the big changes that they're making. But who knows? Hopefully they'll still be affordable. Gary, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Okay, and one more thing for you, Linda. For everybody, we may have problems, but you know what? We just take one day at a time.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, have a good day, bye.
You too.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Ramona. Hi, Ramona.
Oh, good morning, Linda. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah. I just want to say that I was very shocked yesterday, but not surprised.
Yeah, you and everyone else. We found out here literally minutes before Patty took to the air yesterday. So yeah, it was a shock all around.
Yeah, I didn't hear the full preamble, and when I turned on the radio, the first thing I heard, my last day. And I said, last day of the week? But anyway, not surprised because I listen to Open Line all the time, whenever I can, and that's most every day. And I've been saying to myself, my goodness, poor Patty, how much longer is he going to have to stay with this? Because we're going through so difficult times. It's a difficult time for everyone. And, it comes to a point, how much can you listen to? I even think about the journalists, right? All the negative news they got to give out, and they got to stay positive and sound positive, and it's a scary time.
It is. It's a really stressful time, and particularly, I mean, I've been at this for a very, very long time, and in the last, since COVID, really, but in particular in the last year or so, where, the level of uncertainty has reached this global stage, that whole Greenland bit and the Russian invasion of Ukraine and how that war is grinding on and what was happening in Gaza and Israel and, oh my goodness gracious, how can it not affect you? How can it not affect you?
It's got to. I mean, we're all into it, and it's not... It's so endless. It's been going on for so long now, and I blame it. Trump is after emboldening all the bullies out there, and I'm very concerned. I mean, even with our politicians. I mean, we got to have some empathy for them. I mean, they're going through hard times too. We're after losing a lot of good politicians in the last couple of years.
I remarked on it some time ago when our former Premier, Andrew Furey, came back from Washington. And he was in front of the cameras, and there was something in his body language, because there's so many ways that you communicate. It's not just through your voice, but it's through your demeanor. And I saw something different in him. I saw something come out of him, and that's just a visual image that I saw. And I said, "Oh man, he's done." And and then he was. There was no way to know that, but you could feel it. You could feel it. He came back from that trip to Washington, and it felt like he. To me, anyway, looking at him, that he was defeated. And obviously, there was some element of that when he decided to step down. So it wears on everyone.
Exactly. That's my concern, that what we're going to end up with in the government are bullies like Trump, because that's the only ones who can. There's so much going on that can handle all this stress and anxiety and. It's really concerning.
Well, Ramona, the only thing I can say is it's important for us because we're becoming more and more isolated, aren't we, in many ways? We're all got our faces, attached to these little tiny screens in our hand. It's literally navel gazing, if you know what I'm saying, instead of lifting our heads, looking beyond our own realm and reaching out to the people around us and keeping those relationships going and finding solace in the little things in life. I think we're losing some of that focus.
We've got to keep contact and socialize and to get away from all this stress. I do
find
do that
the things
as
that
can,
we find joy in. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what we got to do. But it's very, very difficult times, and I feel sorry for anyone in public life. And I'm sure Paddy, he will do well. I'm sure there's a job out there waiting for him. He's a wonderful person.
Oh my goodness, the talent in that man's little finger.
He's got it all. He's got it all.
Ramona, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All righty.
You have a good day.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. Well, Marine Atlantic, as you know, can't seem to catch a break. Since November came in, it's been nothing but cancellations and the like because of high winds and heavy sea states. And it's evidenced by the fact that if you've entered, any store in recent days, and particularly in the grocery stores, there's an awful lot of empty shelves. And here we are paying the highest kind of prices for our groceries, and yet you can't even get groceries in a lot of ways these days because we're so reliant, of course, on that link. And a coalition of industry stakeholders is now calling for increased capacity on the Gulf ferry system through Marine Atlantic, and that's all well and good if the weather allows crossings, but the coalition includes Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, no surprise there, Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, the Board of Trade, the Atlantic Chamber of Commerce, the Retail Council of Canada, the Newfoundland and Labrador Carriers Association, Akita Equipment, and East Can Transport Services. And they're looking for bigger boats and more boats. They were pleased to see that Marine Atlantic had decided to lease this ferry from the Mediterranean, but they're concerned that the Crown Corporation will fall short of meeting the demand for commercial and passenger traffic by simply just replacing is it the Highlanders that's coming out of, I can't remember now which vessel is coming out, but just to replace that vessel with this new vessel, or new to us vessel, as opposed to getting yet another vessel or two. Anyway, any of those organizations that want to give us a call and speak to us about it, they're certainly welcome to do so. We're going to go now to Bob. You're on the air. Hi, Bob.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Out doing a bit of snow clearing, as usual.
Yes. For yourself or for others?
A little bit of both. I just returning back to my own driveway now, and I got a fairly long driveway, but I'm getting through it. I got a little tractor there, and it gets around.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I called yesterday, and it was a bit delayed in getting through, with Paddy's announcement and whatever, and wish them all the best. But I just called in yesterday to speak on a couple of calls from the day before, actually, that there was a few people that called in complaining about the roads that are around Southern Harbour and Arnold's Cove and stuff like that, and which I agree, yes, the roads are bad, regards to the pavement and upkeep and ditch clearing and whatever, and we all can't get the first service all the time, but when it comes to the snow clearing part, and a lot of these communities and a lot of people that we're hearing from, to me it sounds like they are in municipalities and they're putting the onus on the federal government, the provincial government, but to the best of my knowledge, municipalities receive money for snow clearing and road upkeep from the gas tax. So individuals, and the one individual that called in a couple of days ago, he is actually a council member. He said that he's a council member and calling in for his own personal opinion. But I mean, the individual should know that they receive money to do their own snow clearing, and I don't see the point of complaining to the provincial government about the roads within their community when shouldn't that fall under their own municipal jurisdiction?
It should, but there are certain roads that are not, as you know. Main highways and the like are usually under provincial jurisdiction. So that's the provinces. Like if it's a main artery that runs through a community to another community or comes off a highway into a community, that's usually under provincial government jurisdiction.
Yes, it is. And but it's just the one individual said that he's from Southern Harbour and Arnold's Cove area, and both of those are off the highway, and I just assumed, maybe I could be wrong, which I apologize for that, but it just caught me off guard that, they're calling in and complaining about road snow clearing and stuff. And like I said earlier, we all can't be the first to get cleared out after a snowstorm. There's routes that the trucks go and all that stuff. So, but to me, when it comes to a municipal area that gets, funding from the provincial or the federal gas tax, and the money flows back to the community for them to manage their own snow clearing, I mean, the onus should be put there first, not to the government first. You know what I mean? And also with that same conversation or same topic of the roads, this whole thing where the government's asking for public input about roads and all of that, is this something that is an actual information session for the government to get feedback from the individuals, or is it something just to prolong and make it look like they're trying to do something when, I could be wrong again in saying this, but you have a supervisor with Department of Transportation that drives the roads, and don't they do out a report of issues along the way on a daily or weekly basis? And shouldn't that information be an ongoing live document that, as one thing gets checked off the list, something else gets added, the priority list that is there? Not looking for public input like we just had with the food fishery for the last, number of months. Like the government should already have everything slated for the next 2 years based on their budget projections and stuff like that of what they want to take on. Not put it out to the public for everybody to be doing, in my mind, what seems to be a public competition of who can come up with the best reason why they want their roads fixed. Like, there's people out driving them roads every day, whether it's summertime, doing guardrails and ditches and shoulders and pavement, and in the wintertime, they're driving the roads every day looking at snow clearing. And I'm sure if you're looking at the snow that is on the road, you're going to see a pothole, a place where the pavement was cut and hasn't been repaired yet, because if anyone puts in for a permit to cut the pavement for a water main issue or whatever, doesn't that include the government coming back and repairing it after the work has been completed? That's part of the permit process when you put in for it.
Right. Yeah. And let's be clear. The most important road that requires maintenance or snow clearing is the one you're on right this minute, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because you don't care about any other road if you're fearful that you're going to leave the road that you're on at that particular moment.
Yes. But like I said, it just seems odd for an individual who's in a municipality and on a council to put the onus solely on the government with no mention of their own infrastructure that they have within the community. And, I might be a bit biased in it because I'm not from a municipal area, but we are an incorporated area, and we try to make do with the best we can. But it seems like once your hand is in the pot and you're getting your money flow out, is almost that, perception put out there that you always want more. You always want more, when there's a lot of communities around this province that, don't get any money from the government whatsoever and are doing okay, except for, like I said, the road upkeep, which falls solely under the provincial jurisdiction, right? But in regards to this little survey or information that the government's looking for from the public, I don't agree with that. The food fishery, yes, but they still can get their information from fisheries and the fishermen who are on the water every day, not the public in just public opinion. To me, it just seems like everything is just a way of stalling the issue and putting it out there that we are trying to do something, but we're just going to form a committee, or we're going to ask for the public's information, and then we'll need some time to go over that before we make any decisions. if you know what I mean, right?
Well, you're raising some really interesting points there, Bob. I really appreciate your time now. Enjoy a nice warm cup of cocoa or tea or coffee or whatever.
Yeah, in a few hours, maybe.
All right.
All right, you have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There's Bob there. If you have any thoughts on what he's had to say, you're welcome to give us a call. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back. We're going to go now to Chris. You're on the air. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, can you hear me, Linda?
I certainly can.
Linda? Okay. Yeah. I mean, this morning, just listened to Open Line again. You got it all lining up again here now in Newfoundland. The grocery stores are empty. The ferry service has gone sideways, and the plane, all the flights is cancelled. Now, what I'm saying
we're
about
effectively
that is,
cut off.
Exactly. You know, and I phoned in a few times in the last year about the fixed link, and what that is it's an 18-kilometer under subsea tunnel that will link on the Newfoundland side, Yankee Point, to Labrador Point Armour. And I mean, you're only talking 18 kilometers. And, you know, and this is in, to my understanding, it's in the National Job Bank. You know, and I'm only just speaking with my own opinion on this. I think that this is the most critical thing for Newfoundland and Labrador right now. Let's get this started.
Well, it's a conversation it's a conversation, as you know, that we've been having for decades. And you say it's only 18 kilometers, but it's more than that, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think it's only 18 kilometers across the Straits of Belle Isle from. It goes out of Yankee Point, which is in Barb. What's the name of the place?
St. Barb.
St. Barb, yeah, from St. Barb over to Labrador. To my understanding, it's 18 kilometers, and that's only probably 10 miles to drill a tunnel to put away all this, what's happening right now. Like, I mean, the writing is on the wall. It's only a matter of time. And, you know, and on top of that, I mean, you go, like I went to a grocery store that was just opened at the village, and the meat department is nothing there, nothing to pick from. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty stark to see just how vulnerable we are to weather in particular. That's cut us off from the rest of the continent right now. But when you consider a fixed link between the Northern Peninsula and the southeast coast of Labrador, you talk about that fixed link, but of course you have to have the infrastructure on either side of those two access points. And I know that the Quebec government had been looking at extending the Quebec Lower North Shore Highway. I'm not sure if that has been completed yet or not, but that takes you an awful distance out of the way along some pretty long and lonely roads just to get to the Northern Peninsula, and you're still a fair distance from some of the larger centres here on the island.
So the question that I put out there is that, do you want an extra drive, or do you want to eat?
Well, absolutely. That's a fantastic argument. It's a fantastic argument. But I would think that, in the best of conditions, a lot of people might, take another type of easier, quicker route.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that there's no options. There's right now. There's no option.
You're absolutely right.
Right? And I mean, I lived in Ontario, and just the feeling like the security that comes from like being in Ontario, and you can go to Buffalo or you can go to New York or you can go wherever. But at the end of the day, we're 90 miles out on a rock in the Atlantic Ocean, dependent on ferries. And I mean, can anybody come out and say that ferry system has ever worked? And I mean, I have compassion for the community of Port aux Basques. I mean, once the ferry goes, I mean that's completely dependent on the ferry system. But I mean, if the law of attraction works, this is out there, and this tunnel is going to be built. This tunnel will be built. There's no question about it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The thing is how do we get to the expertise? I mean, we're doing all kinds of marvelous things now by taking big concrete platforms and dragging them out on the Grand Banks like taking candy from a baby. And now we got a 18-kilometer hole to dig from Newfoundland to Labrador to give the people a sense of security.
I know one of the because this has been analyzed and there's been cost analysis is done, and it's quite pricey, as you can appreciate. But I know that one of the because a lot of people were talking about a tunnel that you can drive through, but I think one of the options that they were looking at and preferred at the time, and I think this was under Danny Williams, if I'm not mistaken, was like a shuttle almost.
Well, I don't think that's the way to go. That's only just clobbering up more stuff in the tunnel. Just do what everyone else does, is to put a road through, and you go up and you pay your toll, because I think that's how they dealt with the bridge, Confederation Bridge, is whoever built it got the money from the toll for a certain amount of years or whatever. And that's the exact same way that the tunnel has got to be built, is that you're going to have a toll, but at least you will be able to get, Newfoundland will become a part of Canada, and you won't starve to death here in Newfoundland.
Chris, you're raising some poignant points at this particular time of the year. I really appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're going to go now to the caller on line 1. Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. I am speaking to you. I don't have a name for you, so I can't call you by name. Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Yes. You had a previous caller speaking about the cardio exercise program.
Yeah.
And now I didn't get all the conversation, so I may be totally off base, but I did hear she was talking about space and to do more exercise or more exercises and things like that. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned maybe an old school and stuff like that. What I wanted to just mention is that I'm not sure. And I have no connection with this organization, but the Technoplex building down in Pleasantville, they're also called the Avalon Activity Center. They have space there. They have a big gym. And now they cater to, and I'm maybe wrong here, but I think it's maybe rugby and stuff like that.
Yeah, indoor soccer, rugby, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of times. But when the kids are in school, the building is empty. And they offer a senior social Monday and Thursday from 1 to 3, and you have access to the big gym for walking and all kinds of board games and things like that. and I'm not sure. Like this is free. Now they have a lot of, I think, school children come there after school and things like that. So, but like mornings and afternoons, it's a beautiful facility with a Robin's coffee shop, so I just wasn't. I just thought that I would just let people know that it's a beautiful facility.
I'm glad you called. It really is. I'm familiar with it myself. It's a fantastic space for sure. And if there was need for, more space for those kinds of cardiophysiotherapy programs, that might be a good alternative. I'm glad you called.
Yes.
We're up to news time now. I have to leave it there, but thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we are up to news time with Sarah Strickland.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line.
Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And we are back on VOCM Open Line. We're going to go now to the Liberal critic for Justice and Public Safety, Pam Parsons. Hello.
Well, good morning, Linda, and it's nice to hear your voice on Open Line. That said, I want to certainly extend the thank you to Patty. You know, he put a lot of passion into his show, and so all the very best to him, and a welcome to you. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to take on this new role now on Open Line. Maybe it's going to be you, hey?
Who knows? I do love it, I have to say.
Well, it's great, and it gives people an opportunity, everyone across the province, as you know, to call in, and it's certainly a great resource where people can call to do that. And of course, I'm calling to do that. But before I get on to my topic, I also want to extend my thanks to Dennis Brown, the consumer advocate, because he's been there for a decade, and he's put a lot into that. And one thing I really commend him for is his call on Newfoundland Power to have a review of the recent bills and the hikes that we're seeing and the crazy jumps in people's power bills, as well as his call for smart meters. It's time for Newfoundland Power, to upgrade this infrastructure to better suit the needs of the taxpayers, ultimately, who are the ratepayers here on the island, so they can have better control over their usage and they can see. In today's technology, we know they're doing it in other provinces, other jurisdictions, so we can do it here in Newfoundland and Labrador as well. So I hope that the new consumer advocate will certainly continue that call on Newfoundland Power to get those smart meters in place to better serve our residents.
My understanding, however, Pam, is that Newfoundland Power is hemmed in by legislation, and that was the legislation that was brought in that requires the least cost option. Of course, Newfoundland Power's argument is that the cost of introducing or putting in this infrastructure would not make it the least cost option. It would actually increase prices.
Well, I think it's safe to say that if it's a legislation hinder, we're calling on Tony Wakeham, Premier Wakeham. Let's open that House of Assembly. Unfortunately, we missed the fall session. We do know the spring session is due to happen according to the parliamentary calendar, March 2nd. But hey, we're ready to get that House of Assembly now. There's lots to talk about. It's a changing world. It's changing weather patterns. We're seeing, a crazy amount of winds this winter, which apparently, according to Newfoundland Power, that's what's impacting these bills. Whether it's the least cost option, maybe we could argue that given what the burden that's put on taxpayers and the ratepayers, that maybe, something that certainly can be reviewed and debated in a fulsome discussion in the House of Assembly. So if that's the case, let's get back into that legislature. We're all ready to go. So all MHAs from all parties, including the independents, can get in there and have these very important debates.
Certainly, and I expect there's going to be an awful lot to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. There is, as you know. And Linda, as you know, what we've seen, unprecedented wildfires. I think everybody were on the edge of their seats from coast to coast to coast across this province this past summer. I know what it was like here in Bay Roberts and Harbour Grace Portagrave, the district I represent. Of course, as we know, the neighboring district of Carbonear, Trinity Bay Bird, was slammed with wildfires. They're still dealing with that devastation. Over 200 homes were destroyed, as we know, and as we heard yesterday, those residents, many of them are still displaced. So, it's really time to get at, I want to hear more, and we want to hear more. Residents want to hear more. When I talk to people at the grocery store, at the mall, wherever I am, we really want to be prepared going into this next upcoming wildfire season. We're getting a lot of snow. We heard last year the reason for the dryness is the lack of snow for the previous season. So we need to be prepared. So, I'm really calling on the minister and her team. It's good to see that they're continuing the work that we did with regards to the cabinet committee. We struck that cabinet committee right away, which included a number of departments to best suit the needs with rebuilding that region. But we need to see what's happening. I found the update yesterday rather vague. We want more detail, and I'm calling on them for more transparency with regards to the fire breaks. A big promise they made was to provide each and every volunteer firefighter, I think there are about 6,000 in our province, with the wildland suits that they need, and increasing training and increasing equipment. So we need to know exactly where those things are. Government says it's there to help. I mean, we all know that, and ultimately I think that's pretty much all really was said. Some calls that we are getting, how is the Red Cross's money now being allocated? There's a number of area residents, as you know, Linda, have reached out with questions. I've even heard them calling into open line. They are expressing their frustration and their concern and their worry with how, this has rolled out to date, or rather lack of rolling out. What can government tell residents to ease these concerns? So really calling on them to be transparent. They've made a number of promises on the campaign trail in September and October. One big thing as well, Linda, is that we know the cell phone service is extremely poor in that area of the province, among many, even Holyrood and going through different parts of the Avalon. I mean, when I leave to drive to St. John's from my district, it's a good time to make some calls, return some calls, but it's not dependable. That service drops. So one big promise of the Wacom government was to increase cell phone coverage. I think he said he would increase by 3 million annually. So cell phone coverage across the province by working with industry. Of course, we want to see that. He's also made the promise to fix the problems with the 911 system, including ambulance delays and the lack of funds for the volunteer firefighters. Well, these are all good promises that they made. Also to ensure that the province is prepared for natural disasters. Just look what's happening in Port aux Basques. Unfortunately, we're seeing these unprecedented weather patterns. It's safe to say that climate change is certainly real. We're all experiencing that, and it's every season. It's winter, it's fall, and it's, of course, wildfire season. So there is a lot of concern. Of course, I am the shadow minister for this role. It's a huge portfolio, justice and public safety. Just last week, we were talking about the rise in crime. I know I sat with a constituent here, a business owner, who told me that there's been ongoing theft, and he reached out to of course, law enforcement, and the response was, if it's less than $100, we can't respond. So, I mean, there's something that needs to be addressed. It certainly didn't happen overnight, but we're seeing these changes province-wide. So, and again, I'm here to offer as MHA, and of course, and we're all colleagues in that House of Assembly. And that's the thing. We're all here for the people of the province, and that's politics aside. So please, we're here to help. We're here, even let's see an all-party committee. It'd be great to see an all-party committee now going forward on what we're going to do with the demands and the crimes and our weather patterns. So, we're here to help. So, again, calling on the minister for a bit more transparency. We do know a school was destroyed and students have been displaced, as well as the teachers who were working there. So are they going to build a new school? Is that something that's going to be needed? And we do know that there's housing. And we do know that not only for the people who've lost their homes, but we do know we have a housing crunch here in the province as well, with particular for our seniors and whatnot. So is there going to be some permanent housing put out there in that region? So lots of questions. And again, let's get back in that House of Assembly, because there's so much to talk about and to discuss, and that we all have a vested interest in.
Pam, I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking with you again, Linda. Take good care.
All right. Bye-bye. And she mentioned the fire break, and I think a lot of people in Conception Bay North will tell you that that fire break that was cut in and around Perry's Cove there as you get toward the Highlands may have made a big difference. That looks like it held the fire there and prevented it from spreading down into Perry's Cove, Salmon Cove, Victoria, and Carbonear, and much more densely populated areas. So fire breaks work. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. Well, we have a bit of breaking news for you now. We all know that Memorial University is grappling with a nearly $21 million deficit, and how they're making up that difference is part of a series of decisions that they've been making, and we have a major one now relating to Memorial University's real estate. Brian Medore joins us now. Brian, what do you know?
Well, when this news broke, there were a lot of wow comments coming from the newsroom. We had been talking about the Harlow campus in the UK as possibly, being closed, sold, whatever you will. But it's far more extensive than that. We have the Harlow campus, that's gone. Signal Hill campus has a little over a year to either be sold or transferred somehow. Johnson Geo Center in Signal Hill, that will open in April and operate as usual this summer, but if not sold or transferred by the end of December, it will close outright. And the Inkstad building, we had to do a little searching to find out what that one was, but I'm sure many are familiar with it. That's Munn Printing Services on Elizabeth, just before you get to, say, the Aqua Arena zone, and that one will be closed. Printing service will be absorbed into the university outright. A lot of stuff going on there, Linda.
Oh, for sure. And the Signal Hill campus, I mean, that was a great expenditure when it was extended, where the old hotel used to be there. But at the time, I believe it was Gary Kachanowski saw that as a revenue generator. And I can only assume then that it's not meeting those expectations.
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, it would be still in the mix. But and we had some indications of that. I had a document some years ago, and it showed that they put a lot of money into that campus, and that the revenue at the time, that was 6 or 7 years ago, was just not there. The university kind of refuted it at the time that no, this is a wise investment, it's going to make money, etc. But indeed, we think it's gone the other way for sure. And just to update you too on that 20, you're correct, it was 20 million. But then, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, provincial government, Education Minister Din came out and said, no, you are not going to increase tuition as planned in the fall. You are going to freeze tuition. So that added to an already bad situation. That added $5 million to the deficit, just simply freezing tuition in September, a move which the university had not banked on until it actually materialized a couple of weeks ago.
So realistically now, what could this divestment of these properties mean for Memorial University? One, they won't have the operating expenses anymore.
Yeah.
But will they just shut them down if they can't sell them?
Yep, that's the plan. Now, Harlow will be shut down fairly quickly. But the other ones, the Johnson Geo Center has until the end of December. Signal Hill campus has until the end of, not this April, next April, so 15, 16 months or so. And the Printing Services building, that will be closed pretty much immediately. But all those services will be absorbed by on the university instead of a standalone building as it now exists.
And for all those people now, attending class and teaching at Harlow, I guess they're all heading home?
I don't know if it's that immediate, but certainly that operation is going to cease at the, I would presume, the end of this school year. Just let me try to find the information, but I think it's the end of this school year.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through the notes in front of me as well. But this is what happens when you have breaking news. And, so theoretically, all the money that has already been put into, let's say, the Signal Hill campus, and it was a substantial amount of money. I don't have the figure readily available, but will that's gone if this doesn't get sold, if it sits there moldering. Realistically, who would be interested in that particular structure?
That's a good point. Would be a nice call to, say, a real estate firm or agent to find that out. It is a fancy building. If you've been there covering events, it's one of the fanciest around town. When they did the makeover, they did the makeover. I think we were into 20 some odd million, if I recall. I can be corrected on that. We'll get all the specific information at a news conference this afternoon. I think it's 2:00 by the university and the Board of Regents. So we'll get a lot of those questions answered this afternoon. And the Premier has a news conference as well early this afternoon. So I'm sure we'll be peppering him with questions as well, see what he thinks about those cuts, because they would appear to be more extensive than anyone had imagined. It really, all we thought was on the table, certainly Harlow, in discussing it in the newsroom, figured, well, its days are numbered. It's a luxury perhaps we don't need in these times with a deficit like that. But we had no idea that Johnson Geo Center, it's, kind of an important piece in the whole history and tourism. It'll operate this year, but whether it operates next year, that's another matter.
Wow, and all of this while government is reviewing current and promised projects, and I understand we'll get an update on that as well in the next little while. Brian Medora, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Right, Joy.
Well, that is big news. Memorial University's Board of Regents has approved the divestment of the Harlow campus, the Signal Hill campus, the Johnson Geo Center, and the Ingstad building, which is the Memorial University's printing press. We're going to go now to Daryl. You're on the air. Hello, Daryl.
Oh, hi, Linda. How are you today?
Oh, great. Lots of news to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I was just listening there as Sign of the Times, and I guess the problem with everything in general is a revenue problem when you look at it, right? And it's too bad they got to do what they got to do. But if I'm going to tune into it, it's unfortunate, but I guess it's hard decisions, and it's unfortunate that is going down that path. But I guess we'll have to hope for the best for the future, and hopefully a day will come that will all turn around, hopefully.
With any luck.
With any luck at all, right? Linda, what I'm calling about today, one thing I want to congratulate Paddy on his stint for all those years on Nightline. I first spoke to him Nightline, and I talked to him on Backtalk and Open Line, and I called him way before Paddy as well, going back to Baz Jameson and George McLaren and pretty well everybody, Bill Rowe, and Paddy was did it for 16 years, so I like to wish him and his family all the best for the future, and it was great having numerous chats with him over the years, and there's no doubt he's going to be sorely missed. Absolutely. Yeah, so there you go. But Linda, what I'm calling about there today, one thing I like to throw the bouquet to the divers with Newfoundland Hydro, the situation we had there in Bay d'Espoir. I mean, they worked in minus 25 wind chill factors, and they got the job done. And I like to give kudos to Newfoundland Hydro. They did have good communications and let us know where they're coming from, and and the people of the province, they did their part as well, which was all great. It was more of a team effort, which was great, and was all good at it. All worked out for the better. But this is the part that's puzzling me. They had the import power from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and New England, and certainly Holyrood. But we got Muskrat Falls, and we got the Upper Churchill. I mean, we got all the assets on our doorstep. Now, I'm glad they had to do what they had to do to keep things going, but there's still something wrong with this picture. We got Upper Churchill, Muskrat Falls, but yet we had to import power. But now I know we exported 100 kilowatts to Nova Scotia as well. But when you look at this whole picture, we got everything on our doorstep, and yet we still had to import power. So that's what really puzzles me, and something to think about. You're raising a good point there, but we do have that option, you see, and that's, I guess, right. Part of that whole interconnectedness is that we do have the option to bring that power back if necessary, and as it turned out, it helped us out tremendously. It prevented any rolling blackouts anyway. Oh yeah, no, and I'm glad it was all good that way, and they got those options, and I totally agree what you're saying there, and it worked out for us, and which is great. But like what I'm just saying, like with everything we got on our doorstep, like we probably shouldn't have to do it. I'm glad we got the options. Don't get me wrong; it's great to have those options. But when we got to Upper Churchill and we got a Muskrat Falls there, and we still had to do that. I think it should be looked into more for the future. We're lucky we imported it, but how about these other places had their own severe problems like what we did? So it's something I think it's something to really pose a question to probably Newfoundland Hydro or whatever the case may be. How come we couldn't get it off from Muskrat Falls? How come we couldn't get it from the Upper Churchill? And I know the deal's still in effect with Quebec, and they get theirs 8 cents a kilowatt from the Upper Churchill. But my whole point is like and it's not only me, our people question it. The options are great, but we got all this on our doorstep. How come we still had to go that route? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do indeed. Daryl, we have to leave it there because we're up to news time again, but I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, and one other thing I'd like to add there, I'll be very quick there. Now, imagine if we had EV, everybody had a electric vehicle.
Yeah.
And that had and EVs go onto the grid. I mean, we couldn't hardly handle it past few days. So if you add that to the mix, I mean, that would have been even worse. So something to think about. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why expansion of the Upper Churchill, to many people's minds, is so critical at this particular time. Daryl, I really appreciate your time. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, and you have a great one.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
We're going to go to news now with Sarah Strickland, the latest on Memorial University divesting itself of some pretty big pieces of real estate. Right after this.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
So, as you heard, breaking news, Memorial University is divesting itself of some pretty substantial pieces of real estate. It includes Harlow campus, which is one that we've been talking about for some time, and a lot of people have said that, they'd like to see Harlow maintained. Harlow campus will be gone as of the end of August. The MUN's Signal Hill campus, a significant amount of work has gone into that particular structure in the old hotel that was there on Signal Hill, turned into a kind of a lecture hall, events kind of structure with places for people to live as well. The Johnson Geo Center will be operating this year, but will close after that if no one else takes it on. And the Inkstad building, which is MUN's printing plant, that will also be gone. And Dr. Janet Morrison said today that this decision is to pursue divestment of these assets is not a value judgment on the quality of work done in those areas, nor does it mean that activities and units within those buildings will end. She calls it an opportunity for Memorial to right-size its physical footprint and focus on what matters most. And the Minister of Education indicated that this week as well, that MUN was going to be focusing on its core operations. MUN, of course, dealing with a $21 million budget deficit, but the provincial government's decision to freeze tuition this coming semester, she says that has compounded with the decreased enrollment and will result in reduced tuition revenue of approximately $5 million. That is a lot to make up. And just to give you a sense of how much needs to be generated in order to make up that difference, this divestment of these properties is only expected to result in an annual operating expense reduction of $3 million. And over time, the university says, deferred maintenance will be reduced by an estimated $20 million. So that's where the real money starts to come in, but that's over time. So even divesting themselves of these 4 major pieces of property is not going to get them to the place where they need to be. There are no immediate layoffs associated with today's decision, but you know that will come at some point. There'll have to be some kind of changes there, I would imagine. The Harlow campus will continue its academic programming and events until the end of August of this year. The Signal Hill campus operations and client bookings will continue at the Emera Innovation Exchange, and that decision does not mean that activities or units currently housed at the Signal Hill campus will cease. Unit level planning will commence immediately to identify alternate spaces or adjustments to current offerings. If a sale is not completed by April of 2027, all operations at the Signal Hill campus will cease and the building will close, and that incredible structure will be vacant. Graduate student residence occupancy will continue at Signal Hill campus for the time being, with support available to help students find alternative accommodations on the St. John's campus. The Johnson Geo Center will reopen as usual in April following its seasonal closure. If a sale or transfer is not completed by December of 2026, operations will cease there and the building will close. And I don't know if you've visited the Johnson Geo Center, but that's quite an extraordinary building, and a lot of work has been put into that as well to teach people about what some like to call the Rock. Units within the Inkstad building that's located on Elizabeth Avenue, including strategic procurement and its print and mail services, will move into its St. John's campus. And as I indicated earlier, when complete, it's expected that the divestment of the assets will result in a recurring annual operating expense reduction of at least $3 million. That's per year. And over time, they expect that deferred maintenance will be reduced by an estimated $20 million. So that's the more significant number, but that's over time. The potential revenue from the sale of each property has yet to be determined and is not the driving force behind this decision. And the big question is, will they be able to sell those assets? I'm sure there'll be interest in some, less interest in others. It's difficult. These are specialty-made properties. A developer would be or would not be interested in them for a variety of reasons. Harlow arguably might have the best opportunity there, but still hard to say. In the case of the Harlow campus, net proceeds from the sale of the property will be reinvested to ensure global learning opportunities are more accessible and equitable for a broader array of students from Newfoundland and Labrador. So they appear to be committed to those kind of global educational opportunities, but not out of one single static Harlow campus. So a lot there to digest, no doubt, and a lot to react to. And there's lots more news coming our way today. We'll keep you up to date throughout the day here at VOCM. Stay tuned for that. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we hope to hear from you. Your thoughts on any of that, by all means, give us a call. We have lines open now for the first time in the show, so now is your opportunity. So an awful lot to digest there as we move forward. No doubt if you don't get an opportunity to express your views on VOCM Open Line today, you'll have plenty of opportunities later today on the Tim Powers Show, and of course tomorrow morning on VOCM Open Line. I see now that the Bank of Canada is holding its key interest rate steady at 2.25%, but won't say where it expects things to go in the next little little while. So something to keep in mind if you're up for renewal. We just renewed ours, so I'm rather pleased to see that the interest rate is remaining steady rather than going down, because that would make me very angry indeed. We are going to go now to Kevin. You're on the air. Hi, Kevin.
Yes, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm just calling about the port of Argentia.
Okay.
They're all talk about the monopiles there for the windmills is all the big thing there. Lots of work on the go, correct?
Well, yeah, because they're coming over and they're not going into the United States right now, so they got to be going somewhere.
Yes. So I work out there with Harvey's terminals and freezers.
Okay.
And right now, they got that dock is leased to them for the monopiles, right? For the windmills. And up on the other end is the only spot where you can dock.
Okay.
And there's pipe boats and stuff going there all the time. But Harvey's, they offload fishing vessels. And right now, Bert, I sent you an email, actually. Berts 1 and 2 are not, you can't go on them no more.
Oh, really?
Because, yes, they're temporarily not safe to be on with heavy equipment. So before Christmas, with the monopiles there, the boats are there for that, and there's no room for our fishing vessels. So all the employees there at Harvey's, now we've lost 3 boats before Christmas.
Oh, so that's affecting your business.
That's a lot of work that our employees, like our guys, are missing. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because they're all talking about the expansion of it. But if they can't even control or look after what they got, how are they going to look after the new part that they want to?
That's a very interesting point, and we'll try to reach out to the Port of Argentia to get some answers in response to that. You say you send an email?
I did send you an email. Now, this is since August 18th, so I don't know why this has not hit the news or anything yet.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'll have to get Dave to forward me that email because I don't have access to open line through our system here. So I'll get Dave to forward me that email, and we'll explore that a little bit further. I really appreciate the heads up on that.
Yeah, this is forklifts, cranes, top loaders, stackers, transport trucks, and other heavy equipment and machinery cannot be on berths 1 and 2. So that's actually interfering with our work because 3 boats, that's like 120 hours that people were expecting before Christmas, and we never got it.
And
right?
you never got
we
it.
had to turn them down. We had to turn them down. They had to go to other places.
And do you know what the future status of these 2 berths will be? Are they doing any work there? Are they planning to?
There are talks about it, but like I said, it's been since August, and there's no action there yet. There was divers in the water, but there's nothing else on the go for a long time now. So.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can get some answers for you, Kevin. I really appreciate this. Very interesting.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
He's raising some really good points there, and we'll try and get some answers on that. We're going to go now to Vic. You're on the air.
Oh, good morning, Linda.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, no trouble.
Yes, I think I heard on news yesterday Paddy Daly's going to retire or discontinue his host as open line.
He's gone.
He's gone. Oh,
yeah.
My, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
I wish him the best.
Yesterday was his last show, yeah.
Oh, my, I wish him the best, actually. I've always enjoyed his program, and I certainly appreciate him taking my calls over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you commented about Memorial University there. I think the cutbacks, and I think they're trying to cut down the expenditure, I think. But I certainly agree that I never did agree with Harrow campus. With the modern technology we have now, we can link into any course now in the world, and I'm aware of other universities giving online programs. You can complete anything now online. But I'm sorry to say that Memorial really not to scratch online programs. We should be able to finish our degrees online at MUN, like other universities. The other thing now, I also didn't agree with the Signal Hill campus. That was on the expenditure also. You can do a master without attending Signal Hill. That was another point. The other point was I think Memorial University has to try to bring some expertise in as how they can raise money probably for the university, because we're not seeing, they must have some programs or some experts brought in here to see. Or so must be some of Newfoundland also, of course. We need more money into university. Maybe also our Newfoundlanders really contributing to our education. I think it's essential that we have Memorial University up to scratch. We have a wonderful reputation in the world now, Memorial University, and we have really high skilled in fishery and in engineering, and I understand some of our accounting, so we have a good program there too. So I think we really need to ask the public to probably what they can do to contribute, in some of the areas, financially for them. We should not be really in debt at Memorial University.
It's interesting to see, how the different administrations at Memorial University, their visions differ in so many ways. There was a period of time when Memorial saw its opportunities to generate more revenue by expanding. Now we're contracting.
Yes, I understand that. Yes, well, of course, I think if we had experts in the beginning, they shouldn't have brought in this Harlow campus and the Signal Hill campus. I think the Signal Hill was designed for masters, because really we don't need to expand physically now with the computer age and actually AI, as you know, and artificial intelligence. So the physical way of expanding really is really not the way to go. We have like I say, I was so surprised. I was talking to the university there, I think last year. Of course, and they're really not the scratch in his computer. And I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm still learning, of course. And I was surprised that I couldn't do a degree at MUN online, whereas other universities I've been communicating with last year, I could have done several degrees online, and I've also had the experience of doing finished a degree online from other university. I won't mention which one, but which I couldn't do at MUN, even though I did do a degree at MUN and several other courses at MUN. And I think we should put more emphasis on really on technology and certainly AI in terms of, we're really leading in some areas in fisheries and also in engineering at MUN. So I think we should be more concerned with the academic and certainly getting those programs online for people that want them. And certainly, excuse me, and I know we've lost some international students, but certainly if we can bring back those international students, not physically but certainly online. So just the way to go now. I think we have to be cognitive now, so that we're having a dramatic change now with the computers and AI coming on stream.
Vic, interesting thoughts on that in terms of online learning, and of course Memorial University does provide a lot of that kind of thing, but in terms of enrollment and that sort of thing, would you get the same bang for the buck? Would you get the same amount of revenue for online learning as you would having somebody registered and in place physically?
Oh yes. So I was my personal experience, if I may refer to that. I paid certainly equivalent tuition online, and as I would at Mon, probably the tuition might have been a little higher at other universities which I've done. And I think I did three different universities outside Newfoundland I actually did courses on.
It's an interesting concept. I think the whole idea, though, of having students physically in your space is that they're also living in the space, or living in the community, and they're contributing to the local economy. It's kind of a bigger kind of economic driver, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yes, of course. But like I say, that's what we have to look at the other university, what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And from what I can see, they're doing an awful lot online now. And I know now that AI is coming in, certainly coming on stream now, I think Memorial really has to move ahead in that area.
Appreciate your time, Vic. You've had the last word on VOCM Open Line this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. And Vic has had the last word there. We're out of time. Up to news time now with VOCM's Sarah Strickland, who'll give you the latest on what's going on at Memorial University. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow on VOCM Open Line. Do join us then. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye-bye.